This is an illustration from this book, and I just want to read this little poem, and then I go to show why are we moving? Okay, all right. The sight of burning Buddhist monks, Vietnamese women and children starving and abused, newspapers, magazines, and the TV news kindled the fires of war. The war stirred the people, and America sent her lambs to slaughter. We were young and innocent then. We questioned but followed the order, grunting and groaning through it all, but we answered the call to the Mekong Delta, the Central Highlands, the jungles, and the DMZ, went America's fighting machines, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Marines. We fought each battle brave and strong, but the VC came back just as strong, and the war grew long. America grew weary. There were protests and demonstrations, and the war became her song. Many of us were wounded, and many lives were spent, but finally home we went, the lambs back to the fold. Times were different then. America had different views. We were committing atrocities, and they saw it on the news. Rotten eggs and spoiled garbage became the confetti of our time. America quit the war in shame, and we became the scapegoats, the ones to blame. Like some biblical Job sitting on a dung heap, scarred by wounds of the war gone by, our dreams all shattered and wondering why. Agent Orange and post-traumatic stress, why hire anyone who is such a mess? And there are those of us still missing from Vietnam, abandoned in that forsaken land. Always remember them is our stand. Remember them, America, the POW MIA, for they are the lesson to be learned from Vietnam today. So this is a little oversight of Vietnam, and this is the poem, the illustration to that poem. I don't know where that one came from. This here is one of the stories. Sergeant Connors, he brought us through basic training, went out, and there's a little poem in this, but I don't want to beleaguer everybody with all my poetry now. But he got 3 bullet holes right through his face, and they covered his head, so we didn't have to look at his face as we carried him out. And that's what this picture is all about. And this is after coming home, having the good luck of coming home, like many didn't, and raising a family, but still seeing Vietnam in my past. And so this is where I get into my running, my frustrations from war and looking at the world today. And so I started running ultramarathons as well. I ran up to Albany for veterans benefits back in '83. And that's a little bit of the story, and that's about what's going on in the world today, and running from the toilets and the trash of life. And this is a sculpture I made. This was my design for a memorial out in Long Island on the Bald Hill. It never made the design. I guess it was a little too dramatic, and I thought the helicopter would be nice on the hilltop. And this here is a sketch for a sculpture that's in the VA hospital in Northport. It's a life-size sculpture there. And that was actually me as a forward observer in Vietnam. I made this a life-size sculpture. I bring these around to different places. I bring to Suffolk Community College out east. Okay, I bring this out to Suffolk Community College on Long Island every Veterans Week. And now I'm getting into, this is a little mixed up though, but this is how I see the war. Not, I do, you know, and I really do blame Bush for it. And this is a shock and awe part of war, coming in, and what I saw is scary, not letting the coffins be shown, the fire, the shock and awe, and all the things that are going on. The Abu Ghraib, and I kind of look at Rumsfeld as being one of the main criminals of war, and still seeing the coffins coming home, and the abuse of the prisoners. And of course, this was my take, I call this Revelations 2003. And I see this as, you know, the old 7-headed beast with the 10 horns, and one of the heads fallen, which now is Saddam Hussein, and some of the heads have changed on top. And this here is, you know, the precursor to the war, the accusations of the weapons and the other side of the war. Why are we into it? We just got done attacking Afghanistan, but now we're turning to Baghdad before we finish the job. And that's what I look at, the bad part of war. This here was the World Trade Center, and pointing it out to Afghanistan. The order is still a little off on these, but I think everybody kind of gets a gist of what's going on. And I do have poetry in all my paintings. These paintings are all large paintings as well. This here was a drawing I did right off the TV when 9/11 happened. And I saw it as hands reaching up to the sky, up to the heavens. And I'm back with Vietnam again. The order did get out. This was Kosovo. It's a little dark, but this was an 8-foot painting. I had a hard time getting good light on it in my studio, and it was a little large to carry out. But I also was troubled by the Kosovo War. And of course there's the bushworms, which I'm wearing as well. And this was when I went to Russia, and I ran the Moscow Marathon, and I lived with their veterans of their Afghanistan war. I ran the Moscow Marathon, and for that I joked that they sent me to Novosibirsk, Siberia. But there I met a bunch of other artists, and I have a whole other thing on that, but I didn't bring that here today. And this, of course, is the ever-growing beast of war. The 7 heads have increased, and they're new. And all the social and economic issues that we're forgetting and losing because of the Iraq War. We look at things that are going on. You know, we've got this war going on, and there's New Orleans off on the other side with the hurricane. So we're kind of, you know, forgetting about everything here in the States. We're occupying ourselves with the war, and we're back to Vietnam again. And this here is a painting I did. This is my past, looking at my reflective face, and looking at the past and looking at the present, and having my family, and thankful that I have a family, and worrying about everybody now that's in the war, and hoping that this war will soon be over. And I'm also very, very worried, and that's going to be my next painting, that we don't go and invade Iran. So.